Why, hello there everyone. I'm Laxow, aka the Kumo Sensei. Minasan, konbanwa. Donjonishodo, good evening or good afternoon. And today I'm going to be breeding in my Monocentropus balfouri, also known as the Socotra Island blue-leg baboon tarantula. And this is one of the many females I have to actually pair up, and I still have many more to actually pair up after this one. But really, I'm just trying to go 2 females a week at a time until they're all paired, because I don't want to breed them all in 1 week, because then that's going to take up too much time, and I am very busy as of now. And you may also notice that this video is a bit late, but to put it in short terms, it is the holiday season, and it's coming up on Thanksgiving this week here in the United States, so I have been loaded with so much work to where my videos are a bit late, and I apologize for that, but really it's just the holiday seasons plus the workload that comes with it. But let us talk about this pairing right now. So this pairing only took about somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes, so there's not much editing to be done for this pairing, which was very surprising. The female was very receptive and the male was very good. He comes out alive, no males getting eaten here, and when it comes to this species, they're relatively easy to pair. Probably a beginner old world tarantula breeding project for beginners if they want to get into breeding old world tarantulas, and really it's a great start. And I'll put this one up with OBTs as well. So if you do have some experience breeding new world tarantulas and you want to come into breeding old world tarantulas, which is a bit of a step up, I really do think that balfouri and OBTs are up there for beginner old world tarantulas for breeding. But I'm just basing this from my experience with breeding old world tarantulas. Some people may have different recommendations for getting into old worlds and breeding them, but it's really just a case of to each their own, I guess. But in my experience, OBTs and balfouris are pretty much the go-tos in terms of skill level if, I want to get into breeding old world tarantulas that I would recommend. So I have actually received a lot of emails, some of them wanting to buy tarantulas from me, some asking about where I've been, which I explained earlier is getting towards the holiday season, so I'm only going to get busier, but I'm going to try to stay consistent if I can. So in my previous video, I did mention that I was trying to get a 3rd job, and some people thought that I was in a financial situation or something of that sort. And just to clarify, I am doing fine. I'm not financially broke or in a financial pickle or anything like that. It's just that the reason why I want another job is because I want to move out and get into a workspace where I can focus solely on working with tarantulas and possibly living there as well. So essentially, like a workspace or a work facility of some sort, and that's currently the reason why I'm trying to get a 3rd job. So I am able to actually pay bills per month and get by just fine. But in terms of pursuing my dreams, I gotta get more money. So that is pretty much the reason why I'm working harder and trying to get a 3rd job, plus at the same time running a business. So essentially you can say it's 4 jobs, but I really hope everyone understands that I'm financially fine as of now and you don't really have to worry. And I'm still training, I'm still in shape, and honestly, even though I'm busier than ever, physically I'm doing great. So don't worry about that, everybody. So I'm trying to answer as many emails as I can because I received a few. So the first one is, where do I see the availability list of what I'm selling? So I will actually post what I'm selling on the community section, an updated list, so that way you can kind of see what I'm selling. And if you're interested in buying something from me, you can just hit me up on my email and we can work things out. Now, one good question I have gotten that I do really want to answer, and I think this one is a pretty interesting one, is that, Laxow, since you're now a business, are you bringing more tarantulas than you did in the past? So just for a bit of context for those who don't know about my history about tarantulas, so before I became a tarantula business, Laxow Legacy today that you're seeing now, I was actually a private tarantula breeder. Basically, I was producing tarantulas in large numbers and selling them through wholesale to other tarantula breeders, wholesalers, and essentially other tarantula businesses. So now that I'm a tarantula business, this question is essentially asking, am I going to be breeding more tarantulas than I did in the past? And the answer is probably not, and allow me to clarify. So when I was a tarantula wholesaler, a private tarantula breeder, I produced a lot of stuff. But since I was a private tarantula breeder, a lot of the stuff I produced was in bulk, so I wholesale pretty much the entire sack the moment I produced something. So I didn't really keep anything, and everything just kind of went out as I produced them, and that's kind of how most private tarantula breeders work even now. But now that I'm a tarantula business, I do gotta keep some for inventory, and my space is very limited, which is kind of the reason why I kind of have to pick and choose what I want to breed, and not just try to breed everything I have. So basically, I've actually bred more in the past than I do now, just because space is limited, and I gotta keep some stuff for inventory to sell. But really, that was a really good question though. I kind of do miss those days, honestly. And this actually ties into another question that I do want to answer because a lot of people have been asking as well, and that is, will I ever become a tarantula corporate? And the answer is no. I don't plan on becoming a big tarantula business like Fear Not Tarantulas or maybe some other big tarantula businesses, and it's really because I want to stay human. I don't want to see myself as like some big corporate company trying to sell tarantulas for money, because then it doesn't feel like me anymore. So I do plan on still selling as a tarantula business, but I do want to keep my numbers and my scale, I don't want to say small, but not as big as them as well. And I'm not saying this as in a way of like me disliking them or something like that. That's not the case. It's just that for me personally, I just couldn't operate like that. So I still will and still will be a private tarantula breeder while at the same time running a business. And I really hope I'm explaining it to where people understand it, but that's essentially where I want to go and how I want to stay. And I also do want to actually export tarantulas someday to the Asian countries to help out my fellow Asians, whether it's China, Japan, Korea, etc. I just really want to export out to them. That is a far-fetched dream, but someday I will actually connect those countries to the US, so that way we can have like a good relationship between countries in terms of the tarantula trade and the hobby itself. But as of now, that is still a pipe dream and something that I would like to see get done. I don't want to make promises that it'll happen, but I will say that I will try. Now, I would actually like to see what the Asian markets have and what they lack, and then maybe I can start working on the species, whether it's a common species here in the US that's dirt cheap and is expensive over there. Maybe I can start working on species like that, so that way I can export the species that are very scarce in those Asian countries, so that way they can have some accessibility to tarantulas that we have that they don't. And then just trying to figure out things, But I do have a very strong vision of what I want, but it's a lot to take in, so I can't really put it into words. But I really hope that in the future, my contributions to this hobby will make it easier for the future generations to come, for the future hobbyists and tarantula breeders. But I guess I'll call this a video for today. So, as the typical, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to stick around. I'll try to upload every week, but it has been busy recently because of the holiday season. But please stay around and follow along on this journey, and also support me on my social medias such as my IG and Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members, because these Patreon members here that you're seeing, these names, they're helping a lot here, and I really gotta thank them. And I will find some way to honor them in the future, so thank you to my Patreon supporters. And with that, stay lax and Laxow out from the Kumo Sensei.